In the shadow of a gleaming mansion, a woman stepped into a world that glittered with privilege but hid sharp edges of disdain. Each dawn, she crossed that threshold, her skin a silent contrast to the pale walls around her. What started as a job to survive became a daily battle against invisible chains, subtle slights that cut deeper than words. But one evening, as the sun dipped low, a single moment shattered the facade. Would she endure the storm of prejudice, or would it finally break her unyielding spirit? Lena had always been the steady one, rising before the city stirred to catch the early bus from her modest apartment. Her days blended into a rhythm of quiet determination, supporting her young daughter with whatever work came her way. Once, she dreamed of numbers and ledgers, studying late into the night for an accounting degree that life had pushed aside after her husband's departure. Now in her early 30s, she found stability in the sprawling luxury mansion atop the hills, home to the affluent Warren family. The Warrens lived in effortless opulence, marble floors that echoed under her footsteps, crystal chandeliers catching the light like distant stars. Mr. Warren, a successful executive, barely glanced her way. Mrs. Warren managed the household with polished efficiency. Their teenage daughter, Sophie, flitted about with carefree entitlement, and young son, Max, played in rooms larger than Lena's entire home. Lena's role was clear: keep everything immaculate, meals prepared, lives uninterrupted. She moved through the space like a shadow, her uniform a crisp reminder of her place. Yet beneath the routine, a subtle unease simmered. The family's casual assumptions lingered in the air, unspoken but heavy. Lena felt the weight of eyes that saw her not as a person, but as a function. As she polished the silver one morning, she sensed the gathering clouds of conflict, unaware how soon they would unleash their fury. As weeks turned into months, the mansion's polished surface began to crack, revealing the undercurrents of prejudice that Lena had long suspected but hoped to ignore. It started small, like ripples in a still pond. Mrs. Warren's offhand request carried an edge, asking Lena to handle tasks beyond her duties, assuming she had endless energy because people like her were built for it. The family never asked about her life outside those walls, as if her existence began and ended at their doorstep. Lena's commute, the exhaustion etched into her bones, remained unseen. One afternoon, while dusting the grand library, Sophie lingered nearby, her gaze curious yet detached. The girl's questions probed without true interest, laced with stereotypes that made Lena's chest tighten. She spoke of exotic hairstyles and wondered aloud about Lena's background, implying a narrative of hardship that fit neatly into her privileged worldview. Lena swallowed the rising frustration, her hands steady on the feather duster, but inside the sting grew sharper. These moments accumulated, each one a brick in a wall of isolation. The tension escalated during the Warrens' lavish gatherings. Lena prepared endless trays, her arms aching as guests milled about, their conversations drifting to her ears like poison. Whispers about the help and assumptions about her origins floated freely, unchecked. Mr. Warren once praised her efficiency in front of friends, his words framing her as an asset rather than a human, reducing her years of resilience to a convenient trait. The economic chasm yawned wider, vases worth more than her rent, while she scrimped for her daughter's school needs. Nights blurred into fatigue, but Lena pressed on, studying accounting texts in stolen moments at home. Yet the mansion's atmosphere thickened. A misplaced item led to accusatory glances, hinting at distrust rooted in bias. Her phone buzzed with messages from her daughter, simple pleas for normalcy that contrasted the opulence around her. The injustice built layer by layer, the invisibility, the microaggressions, the constant need to prove her worth in a space that deemed her lesser. As the gala approached, Lena felt the pressure mounting, a storm brewing that threatened to expose the raw truth of her daily endurance. Would the next slight be the one to tip the balance, or could she hold the fragments together a little longer? The gala night arrived like a thunderclap, transforming the mansion into a whirlwind of lights and laughter. Lena moved through the chaos, her body a machine of efficiency, wiping spills, refilling glasses, fading into the background amid the swirl of gowns and tuxedos. Hours stretched endlessly, her feet throbbing, but she pushed forward, the weight of 50 guest expectations pressing down. Then in the dim kitchen light, the breaking point shattered the illusion. As she scrubbed the marble countertops, littered with remnants of excess, Mr. Warren's voice echoed from the hallway, a casual phone call that pierced like a blade. He described her as reliable machinery, a fixture in their perfect world, devoid of her humanity. The words hung in the air, stripping away the thin veil of civility. Lena froze, rag in hand, her reflection in the polished surface distorted by unshed tears. The exhaustion crashed over her, years of overlooked labor, the racial undertones in every assumption, the isolation that screamed louder than any shout. In that suspended moment, the mansion felt like a cage, its luxury a mocking contrast to her struggles. Her mind raced to her daughter, to the dreams deferred, to the systemic barriers that kept her here. Anger surged, hot and unyielding, mingled with a profound helplessness. Would she confront the facade, risk everything in a burst of truth? Or swallow it once more, her resilience the only shield against the storm? The world narrowed to that kitchen, the climax of silent battles reaching its peak. As footsteps approached, Lena straightened, the decision hanging in the balance. A pivotal breath where injustice met unbreakable will. In the aftermath of that shattering night, Lena gathered the fragments of her composure and finished her task, slipping out into the dawn with a quiet resolve. The Warrens remained oblivious, their world undisturbed. But for Lena, the moment marked a turning point. She returned home to her daughter, the small apartment a sanctuary of warmth amid the cold echoes of the mansion. No dramatic confrontation unfolded. Instead, a subtle shift began within her. She accelerated her studies, securing an internship at a local firm through sheer determination, trading the uniform for a blazer that symbolized reclaimed agency. The incident's ripple extended beyond her walls, echoing the broader tapestry of racial injustice woven into everyday lives. Lena's story mirrored countless others, domestic workers enduring microaggressions, economic traps, and the dehumanizing gaze of privilege. It highlighted how racism thrives not just in overt acts, but in the quiet assumptions that erode dignity. Her resilience became a beacon, proving that endurance could forge paths to change, even if incremental. Yet the scars lingered, a reminder of systemic divides that demand collective awakening. Lena's journey taught that true progress requires seeing the unseen, valuing the labor that upholds society. As she walked forward, the mansion faded in the rear view, a chapter closed but lessons etched deep. What if one act of recognition could dismantle these barriers? Stories like Lena's urge us to listen, to challenge biases, and to amplify voices long silenced. Reflect on your own world. Where might injustice hide in plain sight? Share this if it moved you, and let's spark the conversations that lead to real change. Together, resilience can rewrite the narrative.